Hello, everyone. My name is Judith Hernandez, and my topic for this Capstone research project is the vitality of cybersecurity. When I was first researching what topic I wanted to do, I knew that I wanted to have my project centered around computer science. However, I also knew that there are many different aspects to computer science. I wanted to learn more about the ways that people can stay safe online and what these victims of online fraud and scams actually go through. About 4 months after I decided on my idea, my teacher, Ms. Dean, invited me to be part of the Girls Go Cyberstar National Cybersecurity Competition. In this competition, I was able to learn about cryptography, ethical hacking, and the way that cybersecurity experts navigate the field. Because of these experiences, I know that I want to continue my cybersecurity studies in college and beyond. Cybersecurity is crucial for using the internet due to the fact that it can protect you from attacks, hackers, and viruses. In a world full of technology, there are many different technological concerns. Technology dominates the world today, so different questions may arise. What website should I avoid? What email should I reply to? And what happens when I get a virus? The main question that may come up is, how do I stay safe online and how do I ensure security? Cybersecurity is the techniques of protecting computers, programs, and data from unauthorized access or attacks that are aimed for exploitation. However, cybersecurity itself is an umbrella term. There are four main parts to cybersecurity. These parts are application security, information security, disaster recovery, and network security. Application security focuses on the measures being taken by software developers or people who are creating applications so that their users won't have to suffer any data breaches or scams. Information security focuses on encrypting the actual information in these programs. Encrypting is converting human readable text into text that can only be deciphered by the computer. This makes this text and information really hard to read by anyone. That way, hackers aren't able to steal information easily and usually can't. There are many different forms of cryptography. Disaster recovery performs risk assessments. So, disaster recovery mainly focuses on what happens after you have suffered a data breach, after you have gotten a virus, and how to recover from it. It performs risk assessments, meaning that it can tell you how likely you are to suffer some sort of virus or attack. Network security uses anti-spyware, antivirus, firewall, basically things to just prevent anyone from getting onto your computer. Um, this goes alongside with application security. It's more so the beforehand. Moving forward, I want to ask you, what do these companies have in common? These are all really, really popular companies that you all may know. All of these companies have suffered a data breach. In fact, they have suffered a data breach so significant that they felt it was needed to make a statement to their customers and to the public. Well, what is a data breach and what are the types of cyber scams? A data breach is basically when your personal data is left out for the open and anyone can get it. The types of cyber scams are financial scams, viruses, social media scams, and phishing. Financial scams um, usually come in the form of three types, but these are just some examples. There are many different types. The IRS scam focuses on trying to get someone to give them money, give these malicious people money. So you may receive an email or a phone call from someone saying, hey, this is the IRS. If you don't pay us this money you owe, we're going to send you to jail. And a lot of people who don't know about this scam, specifically elderly people, fall into this and they end up giving out a lot of money. Price cons are more positive. When you enter a website, or this can come in many different forms too, even in email, price cons basically they tell you, hey, congratulations, you won $500 for this store. In order to claim this prize, you have to sign in and give us your information, give us your address so we can send you this gift card. And a lot of people fall for these because they aren't educated about that. And the last one is virtual kidnapping. This is probably one of the most scarier ones. Basically, in virtual kidnapping, someone receives a phone call, um, and the person behind the phone call has information about the callers or the person they're on the line with. They have information about their loved ones, for example, their kids, and they say, hey, we have your kid held hostage. You have to pay us $5,000 for you to have your kid back and for us not to hurt him or her. So it basically uses fear and takes advantage of parents and wives and husbands. Viruses come in forms of fake messages, fake websites, and dangerous emails. So viruses are contracted when you click on certain links that could be included in what I just mentioned, um, or simply by downloading software. It's extremely vital to be cautious of the websites you're visiting, um, what type of software you're downloading. For example, it's important to just check the web address and make sure that you're on the correct website. Social media scams are more common because social media is just a humongous thing right now. Um, and it's also an easier way to try to scam and get more information from more people, because a lot of people are on social media. For example, Facebook. If someone gets hacked, then it is likely that other people on their friends list are going to get hacked as well. And phishing, uh, it's basically when you receive a message from someone or people claiming to be a company and it looks really, really real. So a lot of people trust it. Sometimes what these hackers would do is they find information about um, maybe where you work, and they send an email pretending to be the company that you work at, and tell you that you need to give them information, or they find a way to trick you into giving them some sort of information. And it all looks really real. And like I said, this is the reason why so many people fall for it. They're not really educated about these types of scams. When we think of cybersecurity, we think of computers, social media, but we don't often think about schools and education. So, why are schools and education relevant when it comes to cybersecurity? According to a survey by the Consortium for School Networking, a schooling system, K through 12, has lacked to see that different types of cybersecurity attacks are just as important as the physical safety of their students. In addition, an overseas criminal hacking group named the Dark Overlord was able to compromise a server and gain access into about 2,000 students' information. And lastly, according to a report by TechCrunch, Facebook used to pay its users so that they can give them information. And unfortunately, these users were really, really young. So they took advantage of teenagers and kids that were on their website. This poses a lot of concern. When we think of cybersecurity, we don't really compare it to physical safety, but it is just as important as physical safety, especially in a world dominated by technology. About 14.4 million people were victims of online fraud just this last year. Out of these, 3.3 million were responsible. Currently, 78% of the US population uses the internet. That makes about 5.5% of the internet using population victims of online fraud. And about 24% of those knew that they were responsible. Now, when you hear 5.5%, you think, well, that's not a lot of people, like I'm fine. But there are millions of people in the US that currently use the internet, so it is a lot more common than we think. So, how do you protect yourself? Education. Education is the main thing. You can always do regular scans on your computer, install antivirus software or anti-malware software, but it really comes down to education. You need to know what websites to avoid and what software not to download so that you can avoid these viruses in the first place. If you know about this, if you know about cybersecurity, you are already at a lower risk of getting some sort of virus than those who aren't educated about this. It's also vital to educate kids and especially the elderly who are not really familiar with technology. So who is targeted? You, me, and anyone I targeted. Like I said before, the elderly is mainly targeted because they aren't familiar with technology. So the more familiar that we become with technology, the more that we are able to teach others and know about these different types of risks. Just to recap, we talked about the definition of cybersecurity. We learned that cybersecurity is an umbrella term, and it mainly pertains to staying safe online. There are four main parts to cybersecurity. We talked about the ways that people are targeted. Uh, this can be in forms of being targeted through school, through social media, etc. We learned about online fraud and that the reason that these people want to get all this information is so that they can sell this information. They want to sell it in places such as the dark web. And we learned about the vitality of education. Education is so important to prevent anything bad from happening. I cannot emphasize this enough. The key to this problem is education. Thank you so much for listening.